All right, today we are pulling back the curtain on something that, well, affects every single one of us, internet surveillance. We're going to talk about who's watching you online, what the real dangers are, and, most importantly, what you can actually do about it. So, let's get into it.
So, you ever get that feeling, you're browsing the web, and it just feels like you're not alone. Like every click, every search is being watched.
Well, guess what? You're not being paranoid. But it's not some spy in a trench coat watching you through binoculars. The reality is actually way bigger. It's all automated, and it's happening all the time.
So, if it's not some shadowy figure in a van, who is it? Well, it basically boils down to three main groups that are keeping tabs on your data.
First up, you've got corporations. They want to know what you like so they can sell you stuff. That's why ads for something you just searched for seem to follow you everywhere. Then there are governments who are monitoring things for national security reasons. And finally, the ones we really worry about, criminals, who are just looking to steal your information and make a quick buck.
And here's the thing to remember. Most of this isn't a person literally watching your screen. It's massive automated systems that are just vacuuming up data, what you search for, where you go, what you buy, and using it to build a really detailed profile of you.
Okay, so they're collecting data. So what? Why does it actually matter? Well, this is where it starts to get a little scary. Let's talk about the real dangers here.
You probably remember this one. Back in 2013, hackers broke into Target's systems and swiped the credit card info of over 40 million customers. This is the perfect example of why this matters. Target had all that customer data, and when criminals got their hands on it, millions of everyday people paid the price.
And the scale of this problem is just mind-blowing. The global cost of cybercrime every year is more than $575 billion. To put that into perspective, Hurricane Sandy caused about $65 billion in damages. So cybercrime is like having almost 9 Hurricane Sandys hit the world economy every single year. It's massive.
And one of the most common tricks in the book is something called phishing. You've definitely seen these. It's those fake emails that look like they're from your bank or Amazon or whatever, trying to panic you into clicking a bad link and giving up your password. But it's not always as simple as good guys versus bad guys. Take the big showdown between the FBI and Apple back in 2016. The FBI wanted Apple to unlock an iPhone from one of the San Bernardino shooters. But Apple said no. Why? Because they argued that if they built a backdoor for the FBI, it would create a weakness that hackers could exploit, putting everyone's security at risk. This case really gets to the heart of the debate. Where do you draw the line between security and privacy?
And that brings us to a huge, common fear. With all this talk about government surveillance, is there some agent out there reading every single email you send to your mom?
Okay, so here's the reality. No, they're almost certainly not. While laws like the USA Patriot Act do allow the NSA to collect a truly staggering amount of data, it's just too much for any human to actually read. The best way to think about it is like a giant digital haystack. They collect the whole haystack, but they only go searching for a specific needle if they already have a reason to suspect something illegal is going on.
All right, enough with the problems. Let's talk solutions. Because there are things you can do, and we're going to start with your first line of defense, some really simple steps that make a huge difference.
And I really want this to be the main thing you take away from all this. The risks are 100% real, but you are not powerless here. Not even close. You have way more control than you probably think.
So let's start with passwords. Just look at this list of the most common passwords. It's stuff like 123456, or, you guessed it, the word password. Using one of these is basically like leaving your house key under the doormat. A hacker doesn't need to be a genius. They just have to try the most obvious stuff first. And for millions of people, that's all it takes.
So how do you make a strong one that you can actually remember? It's a simple 3-step trick. First, pick a phrase you'll never forget. A line from a movie, a song, anything. Let's use, "and they lived happily ever after." Step 2, make an acronym. That becomes ATLHEA. Now, step 3, add some spice. Mix in some capital letters, some numbers, a symbol, and suddenly you have something like ATLH at 4. That is a password a hacker is not going to guess easily.
Okay, passwords are a huge first step. Now let's get into some of the other basic tools and settings you should be using to lock down your digital life.
Let's run through a quick checklist. Number 1, use antivirus software. It's essential. 2, make sure your firewall is on. It acts like a digital security guard for your computer. 3, be super careful on public Wi-Fi. Seriously, avoid logging into anything important at a coffee shop. 4,
Get in the habit of clearing third-party cookies. That stops ad trackers from following you all over the web. And 5, go into your social media accounts and actually look at the privacy settings. Lock them down.
Now, you want a really simple tip that has a huge impact? Here it is. Before you do a search, log out of your Google account. See, when you're logged in, everything you search for is tied directly to your personal profile. If you log out first, you're suddenly much more anonymous. It's a tiny habit that makes a big difference.
And remember, protecting your privacy isn't a one-and-done kind of thing. You can't just set it and forget it. You've got to think of it as an ongoing practice. So try to build a little routine. When a software update pops up, install it right away. Those often have critical security fixes. Once a week, just take 60 seconds to peek at your social media settings. Once a month, change the passwords on your most important accounts, like your email and banking. And just generally, keep an eye on the news for stories about new security threats. Because here's the bottom line. Technology is always moving, hackers get smarter, companies find new ways to track us, and because of that, your single best defense isn't any one app or program. It's just staying informed. Knowledge is your best weapon.
All of which leaves us with this one giant, lingering question. In this digital world that we all live in, what's the right balance? How much privacy are we willing to give up for the sake of safety? It's something we're all going to have to figure out together.